Hello and welcome back to CBR MTG. My name is Angus Mackay. I'm joined here with Pete Ferman.
Hey guys.
And we're going to be watching some Grixis Delver versus Pox Legacy action tonight. This is your deck, Pete?
The Grixis list is mine, correct. I can't take credit for actually, picking the cards I'm playing. Jeff Hoagland plays a lot of Delver. I like this Delver list. I picked it up, gave it a shot.
Yeah, great. Definitely the behemoth of the format. Anyone who's watched any of our previous videos will know that we put it on a lot because it's a pretty large portion of the legacy meta in general.
Yeah, exactly. I'd personally call it the best deck in the format. Some people will say, 4-color pile's better, but it's close, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And we have Denis Mullins on the other side playing Pox, which is something that we don't see very often. It's a bit of a fringe deck, but I guess it's coming back in popularity since Denis is playing it. He's the bearer of all knowledge. We're seeing a hand coming out of you with 2 wastelands, no other lands from what I can see, so definite ship back.
Yeah, that one went straight back.
I see Denis deciding to take the same option as well, both taking a mulligan to 6. Is this the first time that you've played Grixis Delver?
I think it's like the second or third match I've ever played with it. And I played it about 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
And I didn't like the list I was on. It was kind of terrible what I was playing. So I sort of, put it down for a bit, stuck with Death and Taxes, and then thought I'd give it another shot though.
Give it another go, yeah, for sure. Good deck to get good at, for sure.
Yeah.
We're seeing our 6 looking a little bit more appealing on your side. We've got 2 Delvers,
3 Delvers, I think.
Gitaxian Probe, yes, the Delver, and then a couple of lands, so definitely reasonable. We've got a Force of Will there. You don't. Do you know what Denis is on at this point?
No, I didn't know what Denis was playing.
So we're having a little bit of a surprise. So definitely good having the leading with the Gitaxian Probe with the Force of Will backup as well, in case he's playing some kind of one-turn garbage. We see Denis's hands looking like a turn 1 Liliana of the Veil, with a follow-up of a Wasteland and Mishra's Factory.
Definitely a good hand. I was pretty excited to see the line of, well, he's going to ritual into the Liliana, I'm going to force the Lily. Seems good.
Yeah. The turn effectively 0 force is something that really sort of stands out when you're playing Legacy, is that ritualing into a Liliana is a very, very powerful move, but your opponent is like, not unlikely to daze it or Force of Will it, so keeps the format a little bit more balanced.
Exactly.
We're seeing Denis saying a pretty aggressive line, definitely trying to go for that longer game, hopefully keeping you off a upkeep Brainstorm or something like that, just to ensure that your Delver flips, however you are.
I'm professional and just blind flip.
The blind flip was the best kind, not even looking at it first, just like whipping it over and just showing your opponent. So this flip Delver is going to be a real problem for Denis. I think we're just going to go straight for that Liliana, and we're going to see the line that we talked about earlier.
Getting punished for this Force of Will, but I mean, it's not up to Pox to ask for respect, it just does the thing.
And we see an actual Pox coming out of Denis's hand. For those of you who don't know, usually in the more recent Pox lists, it doesn't even play any Pox, it just plays small Pox. But Pox reads, for black, each player loses 1/3 of his or her life, then chooses and discard 1/3 of the cards in the hand, then sacrifices 1/3 of the creatures he or she controls, and finally sacrifices 1/3 of the lands he or she controls. Round each loss up. Definitely love that old way of writing Oracle text for sure. So talking about doing everything and then finally losing the lands.
Here's me just having a read of good old Curse Scroll, looking going, oh yeah, that's what this card does. It was definitely... I knew we'd be playing it, I just had to recheck the wording, basically.
Yeah. It's played in... it's played in some aggressive decks in other formats, but it seems to be an all-star in Pox, because this is like a control deck that doesn't want to have any cards in hand.
Yeah,
wants to have no creatures on the battlefield and want to have no cards in hand, and you're winning with like Liliana of the Veil, Mishra's Factory, or Curse Scroll. But like Curse Scroll, for those who don't know, is I think it's pay 2 and tap to reveal a card at random from your hand. If it's the card that you named before you picked it, then they lose some amount of life. So
I think it's something like that. Yeah, I'm not 100% positive on it.
Something not too exciting. So yeah, so 3 tap and then 2 damage. So good thing to just have on the battlefield while you're empty-handed. It's just a constant threat.
Yeah. Here's me just sort of doing what Delver does though. Just I've stuck a Delver, and Denis is so if I had no way to get rid of it, I'm just trying to ride this Delver to victory.
Yeah. think that's totally reasonable at this point. I mean, if he plays, he looks like he's not going to be casting that Pox anytime soon. But if he rips the small Pox off the top and like I guess an Urborg as well, like you could be sitting in some trouble. Oh, there we go. Never mind. I guess leading with the Liliana of the Isle is probably just better because we're going to sacrifice this and then we're going to start ticking up Lily.
Yep.
I feel like it's possibly just impossible for you to win from here, unfortunately.
I can't remember how this game went, to be honest. I think I gave it a good shot, but I think this game got away from me here.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those like control decks where he's established the lock very very early, but there's always a chance, in your mind. There's always a chance that you could like that you can come back, but. Holding on to hope. I mean, realistically, you can if you're quick, you might be able to go Volcanic Island. If you rip a Volcanic Island off the top, you have a Lightning Bolt in hand. You can get rid of Liliana, but like time is ticking out for that play because Liliana is ticking up very fast, and you're having to discard a card every turn.
Yeah.
I
was definitely in on making him kill me. He's at 5, as you say. Volk. I've got Volk plus a Bolt in hand. I can put him to 2.
Oh, of course, yeah. So it's not completely unreasonable.
No, and I can always send a Bolt at Lily if she's looking dangerous.
Yeah.
Definitely not where I want to be. I'd rather play to win, but...
Well, I mean, like, you still have a few more draws. Like, this is going to be a slow roll for Denis to get you down, but, like, it's definitely not unreasonable for, picking up the pace now by playing by starting to attack with the
factories turn this one around pretty quickly.
You've got the fetch land now. Like, it's probably just a little bit too late. But you definitely, if you ripped another lightning bolt off top, you just win the game. So it's like you're still just holding on to hope for that certain configuration of cards, and I have to respect you for it. I think we might, by the look of you just passing the turn, you might just be going to. Force him to either not activate his workshops or activate both and have you kill one, which will put him in a turn.
I think that's what I was going for. Yeah.
Definitely a reasonable line at this point. Like, give yourself more draw steps is probably just good. If you can slam a Delver next turn, like he'll be forced to tick down Liliana just to get rid of the 1/1. But look, I think from here we'll see what he's playing in his hands because he's definitely. Going to tap some of that mana.
Dennis is a good Magic player here. What he'll do? He'll just curse scroll. He'll just be curse scrolling me.
Yeah, definitely reasonable.
So I crack this fetch, go to 1, and then I need to rip exactly Bolt at this point.
Well, I mean, it's not too far fetched. Right?
It's not far fetched. I think I believe I'm on 3 bolts in my main deck. I believe 4. I'm on the full set.
Yeah, cool. Okay, looks like
He's just going to pump this Mishra's Factory, making it a 3/3, which is perfect for your Bolt, just taking that out straight away.
So we're just going to play out this Ponder. Maybe we'll see another land. I think he has you... Yeah, he just has you dead on board, but it's good to kind of at least see what you've got coming up. It looks pretty academic at this point.
Take the man's way out. I've cried myself to death.
The only way. So Denis is playing a slight variant on what we see with usual stock standard Pox lists, especially noting the 2 of, I think, regular Pox that he's playing. But coming out of your sideboard, we've got 3 Surgical Extractions, 1 Ancient Grudge, 1 True Name Nemesis, 1 Grim Lavamancer, 1 Null Rod, 2 Pyroblasts, 1 Colligan's Command, 2 Diabolic Edicts, 1 Vendilion Click, and 2 Spell Pierce. Definitely doing the Grixis Delver thing where you're playing a lot of 1/0s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Silver bullets.
Yeah. There's enough cantrips to find the cards I need. Mm-hmm. Off the top of my head, I missed what I pulled in. I definitely pulled in the Null Rod as the way to obviously shut down the Curse Scroll, and it stops factories pumping each other. It's marginal, but it's could buy me a turn or 2.
Yeah, look, it's definitely not something that I've seen. It's an all-star in vintage sideboards if you're like playing unpowered, but the Null Rod in Legacy is not a huge thing that we see. But this is like kind of perfect for you. You shut off 1/3 of his win cons by doing that and stifle the other ones. So like definitely a good bring in on your side. On Denis's side we have 1 Engineered Plague, 2 Collective Brutalities, 1 Knight of Soul's Betrayal, 2 Pithing Needles, 2 Toxic Deluge, 4 Surgical Extractions, a Damnation, and 2 Ratchet Bombs. I believe he's bringing in some manner of Toxic Deluge and Night of Soul's Betrayal. Definitely a good thing if you decide to go down the Pyromancer plan, which I'm probably pretty confident that you would be trying to do at this point, you know.
We just saw there what I actually cut. I cut my Therapies and a Tombstalker.
Yep.
To bring in a Kolaghan's Command, an Ancient Grudge, a Null Rod, and I missed the 4th card.
That's totally fine. I think the Cabal Therapy is probably just a dead card for 90%. Yeah. You don't want to top deck that. You much prefer to top deck a side deck card than a sideboard card.
Exactly.
But Tombstalker especially, like, if this is one of your win cons, you know, like, you just need to be going wide at this point. Like, Denis is, like, preempting that by bringing in some manner of wraths, but for you, like, you just need to get out of the way of those edict effects. You pulling like a very good hand from here. This is
Lavamancer was my 4th card I brought in.
Yeah, sure. So we have Force of Will, a few lands, and the Grim Lavamancer, as well as a Young Pyromancer as well. So kind of doing exactly what you want to be doing.
This hand was everything I wanted to see in this matchup. Just the plan was try and get that Young Peasy down as quick as I can.
For sure.
And just slam spells onto the table, see what sticks.
It does, like, so Denis's like early game, like we saw the late game where he's just locking you out with he does also play a Crucible of Worlds, so he can try and to waste lock his opponent, but like prisoning you out of the game and then just beating you to death with a 2/2. But like if you can get under that through the hand disruption, then that's definitely sort of the best line of play.
That was kind of my plan here. I think like leading Grim Lavamancer into Pyromancer, whatever. I'll let him brainstorm. Sure. Maybe an aggressive brainstorm on my part. Hindsight, I might have played the Lavamancer to get a clock on the table quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't fault myself what I did there. It's brainstorm.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's good to throw away cards as well. Like that's brainstorm being, you know, pretty well used for that aspect. But I mean, it helps you like the Force of Will, kind of a dead card. I mean, we saw that you just put two lands on the top of your library with brainstorm, but I mean, you got to fetch one away essentially by fetching and shuffling your library. Nullrod, perfect. I mean, you got two out of four of your sideboard cards within the first two turns. So I think you should be feeling pretty good about this right now.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't unhappy with it. Denis coming after both of my lands was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to see a double sinkhole, I'll admit. Yeah,
the Dark Ritual is really like powering this deck up to such a huge point, because like being able to double sinkhole makes your opponent just like look at the things on the battlefield and be like, well, you know, I'm playing very low to the ground. I wish I didn't lose that.
Like something best laid plans of mice and men, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. But we did see at the start that you did bring in. Sorry, you didn't bring in. You kept a hand with I think 3 lands, so like probably like at the top of the amount that you would accept as a Grixis Delver player, but like perfect for this. Like when you're looking to get like wastelanded out, you want to have just a redundant amount of lands. Seeing a Liliana been played on turn 3, so we had double sinkhole turn 2 and then a Liliana turn 3. So really keeping those threats going, making it
Denis has had a blindingly good start here, I think.
Absolutely.
He put me really hard on the back foot in this game.
For sure, and it was looking very good to begin with. I mean, we had the Grim Lavamancer being pretty aggressive on Denis's side by using Liliana's down tick ability to make you sacrifice it, but it's a card that's got to go. You know,
if it's left unchecked, I can just ping you for 2 every turn.
I think we're going to see a the Young Pyromancer at this point. Just playing out the Ponder.
Pyromancer, cantrip. Just get some insulation from that Liliana is all I wanted here.
Absolutely, yeah. Even just just getting the token on the battlefield as fast as possible is just fantastic, because every draw step you give him is a draw turner to the edict effect. Exactly. So,
and that Cataxian Probe I actually found on the Ponder.
Fantastic.
Snapping it off just gets another free token. 2 life is fine in this matchup.
It's funny how Grixis Delver is like, it's using its life as a resource completely. You know, this is one of the resources in your deck, and you're going down to what is now 16 life. What is going down pretty low on life from the Gitaxian Probe and the Force of Will as well, and all the fetches, but like you're going to turn the corner pretty quick now. I mean, you've got 3 elemental tokens on the battlefield, and you're about to get another one, and you're probably not swinging with Young Peasy while that Nether Void is on the battlefield, but Denis being pretty lucky to get that Nether Void when he did, because it keeps your Pyromancer at bay, you know, and it's just going to keep coming back. We'll see what we get off this. See what we get off this Ponder. So we decided to shuffle on that, possibly not enjoying the top 3 cards that we saw.
All I wanted at this point was more cheap spells like bolts. I'd take a Daze, I guess, even just to play it for the sake of another elemental, I guess. Wouldn't have loved really, Ponders, Brainstorms.
Float 2, Brainstorm.
Exactly.
Float 1, Brainstorm, Daze it.
Exactly.
Play the land, Brainstorm.
Just terrible lines, just make more elementals is all I wanted here.
Yeah, I mean, this is your win con now, right?
Yep.
This is like the best way for you to win. Yep. Hopefully Denis doesn't find a Wrath off the top, which I'm definitely... I think he's pretty much praying for at this moment.
I expected something like Deluge was the card I was most expecting out of Denis here, and I realized I'm not really in a position to beat it, so I'm just gonna make him have it. That's my plan here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm in the business of asking questions at this point.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. I mean, Liliana's not going to stay on the battlefield for very much longer anyway, because you've got a bunch of elementals coming out now, and you're just gonna keep playing those cheap cantrips, even if it does you no functional value. It's just a good thing to keep playing. I mean, Snapcast even probably going into the Ponder is like fantastic.
Yeah,
but
what's another creature on the table as well?
Yeah, and we see a True Name Nemesis. I think another Pyromancer and a Delver as well. So, I mean, totally fine. I'd probably want to be able to play that. Maybe even just wanting to sandbag the True Name Nemesis until we see the one of the Wraths, because like a Wrath is a blowout right now, but you know that it's just like part of the game. But if you could sandbag a True Name Nemesis and then follow the Deluge up with a True Name, then you might just get lucky enough to win. You know.
I decided to be a greedy boy here and just go for it. I think.
I mean, definitely another great route to take, just because. You're going hyper aggressive.
Yep.
You know, don't give him a chance to draw the Deluge by killing him immediately.
Exactly.
So what are we seeing? We're seeing a Wasteland come out of Denis. I think your Wasteland is probably just going to tap for black mana at this point. There's no point in taking him off Urborg, just because he's casting anything that he's got in his deck with the mana that he has available already. So this so aggressive coming out of you with the second Pyromancer, but I mean, this could be exactly enough that you need to do to just push him out of the game. You know, you don't even have to swing with your young Pyromancers anymore, because
playing the second Pyromancer might have been a little greedy, in hindsight. I think Denis did get a little unlucky just to not draw a Wrath effect to punish me here. If I'm entirely
that's
honest.
Magic, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We play a game of variance.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Wasteland, good to hold on to.
Get that factory out of here.
This is speaking of hyper aggressive lines, we were seeing the perfect amount coming down on the table. Denis would have to block 1 to take, I think it was 8 damage. So we're going back to sideboards at this point, but I think you're probably feeling a little bit more of a confidence boost after that winning game 2. Sometimes just going game 1 loss and then game 2 win, you kind of feel like you're back in the game, you know, especially against a deck that you don't know as well, because Grixis Delver is very sort of dependent on...
it is very meta-dependent.
Meta-dependent, format knowledge. You need to be able to know your opponent's deck inside and out so that you can properly tune your game plan to beat it. But you're definitely being able to get that second win would make you feel pumped for the rest of the night, for sure.
I think especially even having lost game 1, being able to sideboard and more importantly make an intelligent mulligan is one of the more important aspects of this matchup.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think the opening hand I had in game 2, if it was missing the Pyromancer, I'd have it was still a fine hand, but if that Pyromancer had been anything else, I'd have really strongly considered sending it back.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I want that that quick sort of go wide threat in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Delver won't don't necessarily get it done, nor would True Name.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely keep a hand that's completely different when you're versing Pox, because like 3 lands is great, 4 lands even, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'll happily take some extra lands in this matchup.
Even just like 2 threats and 5 lands, because like Denis is probably gonna like lead on a turn 1 Thoughtseizer or a turn 1 Inquisition, you know. Just being able to let him get rid of a threat, deploy one of your own, and then just try and get ahead from that is like a reasonable line that you probably wouldn't take against nearly every other deck in the format, you know. We're seeing the Cataxian Probe showing off Denis's hand of the 2 Nether Spirits and a 2 lands and an Urborg. So is it him?
That's him to Turok.
Him to Turok.
Yeah, pair of hymns.
Yeah. Fine hand.
Oh, perfectly fine hand. As a man who has cast many Hymn to Turok, I do enjoy just jamming a turn 2 him with another one to follow it up.
Something that's omitted from some Grixis Delver lists. I do remember at some point in time they were playing the Hymn to Torox. Maybe I'm thinking about a slightly different deck, but it's a very good card. I mean, you're playing it on turn 2 and you're playing it on turn 4, and suddenly your opponent's like, well, whoops.
It's definitely a good card. I think having double black in a Grixis Delver list it's doable, but it's a little greedy. I think you're pulling the mana base in a lot of directions. Like I play the one-off Tombstalker instead of, say, a Gurmag Angler, because I really value the flying on the Tombstalker.
Completely reasonable.
But that's my only double black card in the whole deck.
And speaking of which, like, your black is very light.
Yes.
Like you're playing the Cabal Therapies and the Deathrite Shamans as standard, but after that it's just Tombstalker, right?
And Kolaghan's Command is technically a black card.
Yeah, the spicy one of Kolaghan's Command.
There's a little bit in the sideboard. I've also got a pair of Diabolic Edicts.
Oh, for sure.
Surgical Extraction, although, you know, that's the blue card, right?
Yeah, that's right. Surgical Extraction, the blue card. Yeah, I think. I mean, just opening yourself up. I mean, we've seen the blue-red version of Delver, but it just plays completely different.
It's a blue-red burn deck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a blast to play, but it definitely plays very differently to Grixis Delver.
Oh, for sure. And having those edicts in the board is huge for Grixis Delver lists, you know, because like just not being able to like get a creature off the battlefield is like a pretty big problem. You know, like if you're versing the Mirror and your opponent has a Gurmag Angler, like how good do you feel when you top deck that edict? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it gives us some faint hope against a Dark Depths deck as well.
Oh, for sure.
Something like lands, which is usually a horrendous matchup.
Yeah, I can imagine actually the putting you in the Wastelock with lands is very achievable for them, but very, very backbreaking for you. Yeah. And I mean, going after a mana base is like just a very solid plan when you're facing an unfair deck. But you're not an unfair deck; you are the fair deck. So I guess it works for a lot of decks, right? So you being pretty aggressive with the Kolaghan's Command, just snapping it off as soon as possible, which is like totally reasonable. I mean, not even giving him an activation out of it is totally
I think pretty much where I want to be, because I believe it can deal damage to creatures as well, if memory serves. I don't think it has to go directly to players.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it does, then your Deathrite Shaman is not looking good.
Exactly. I mean, I think that was why my reasoning behind it, getting rid of it, to get my Deathrite on the table.
We're seeing with the double cantrip, possibly just using the shuffle effect of Ponder to get rid of those 2 cards. Definitely worth seeing what the 3rd card would be, but like something that like legacy players in particular, I suppose, have to be very careful of, and like Eternal formats is like putting yourself in a brainstorm lock. You give yourself a little bit of brain freeze where you just turn off your next 2 turns because you didn't have a shuffle effect and you didn't like the cards on top. Are we swinging with Deathrite Shaman here? Surely not.
I think I might have.
I mean, you're tapped out.
I did swing. I was tapped out. I'm like, well, I got nothing else to do here. Let's send the old elf in.
Yeah. We see Innocent Blood coming out of Denis. Yep. Notably, a fantastic card against what is essentially a creatureless deck.
Yes. Fantastic card in general, I think. Very.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like not played in a lot of decks because you want to build the tempo by having your opponent sacrifice a creature, but you still have the creature. But Denis doesn't care. He's just going to activate the factory afterwards and then swing face for 2. So Instant Blood, just a definite include in a lot of decks.
Yep.
A lot of Pox lists.
Yep. And I'm firmly just on the Deathrite drain you out planet here.
Completely reasonable.
I've just
Completely
Denis has shredded my hand here. He's had a really good discard based draw, and I'm just gonna chew through every spell I can and try and get eke out the win this way.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a reasonable line to take. Deathrite Shaman is a very good card, so it's good to keep it on the battlefield. We have Young Pyromancer coming down as well, so hopefully you can start turning the corner with this. I mean, we see another Sinkhole, which will definitely slow you down, but if you can start cantripping cantrips, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Not knowing the contents of Denis's hand makes this decision a little bit awkward, but
I think he's only got the one card in hand, and again, as I said in game 2, I'm not beating a Deluge or anything here anyway. So
yeah, for sure. Another land off top. Do you know what's the last card in your hand? Because it's definitely not a cantrip, otherwise we would have played it.
Not off the top of my head, it could have just been like an extra land. I might have been sandbagging lands.
Yeah. Probably very reasonable look.
Like I'll happily hold a single land. I won't hold two, so I definitely won't play that C there.
Totally.
Yeah, it wasn't
there
land,
we go.
It was the Volk.
Volk, particularly useful at this point because you don't have any red mana.
Yep.
So, here we go. Lightning Bolt following up with the Young Pyromancer token.
Just getting aggressive here.
We'll see if Denis can stabilize, but it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, I think I've definitely turned the corner quickly here. Denis taking me off red mana kind of hurts, but I've got Deathrite to drain.
Yeah, you're pretty close to where you need to be. I mean,
he's dead on board at this point.
We'll see if we can pull out anything, but it's looking pretty poor out of his side. We have 3 out of the Peasy and the Elemental token, and 2 out of the Deathrite Shaman.
Exactly.
So it looks like you're taking it home right now because not much you can do about that.
I'm being a bit of a rude boy here and just cantripping away.
Look, why not? We'll see how long Denis before.
I think about here he reminds me. He just says, "I'm dead on board." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you are."
I mean, you have a line. You have like an idea in your head. You just want to do it. So there we go. Definitely keeping the hand of the double him to Turok might have been like a little bit too greedy, but it's the type of disruptive hand that Pox keeps because you're getting rid of 4 cards.
I think it's definitely a fine keep. Like I'd have snapped it off.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you just legacy people. You take away the last of my lands, you sinkhole me, and then I'm stuck with a Deathrite that can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I think once you knew what was on the battlefield, you could kind of plan a little bit better than game 1, where you just got absolutely blown out immediately by all different angles, the mana denial and the hand disruption. So Pete, you ended up taking that one out 2-1.
Yep.
In a very fast game, a very unique game of Grixis Delver, where you are being the aggressive deck. Yeah. Just I do love how Grixis Delver can kind of just take that mode if it chooses to. It can be the control deck, or it can just be the aggro deck and just start beating face and playing cantrips.
It's definitely a very flexible deck. That's why I thought I'd give it a shot and
for sure,
run it out.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Pete, for joining me tonight on CBR MTG, and please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for always more legacy and modern content.